host, Tiffany Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about pricing your offer and more on money energetics and really understanding how to be a money magnet in your business and how to attract the money that you desire instead of grinding yourself into the ground and following logic and doing all the things that you are quote unquote supposed to do in order to attract money. Here's what I want you to know about attracting money. Here's what I want you to know about the energetics of money and becoming a wealthy, successful business owner. So one of the first things that I really want to share, and this can come off a little bit confusing or shocking to most people, and it's that the energy of money is the same whether you are attracting $5 or $500,000, right? And the reason that it's so much harder to attract in our heads, it's quote unquote harder to attract $500,000 is because we have all of these thoughts about attracting more money. Not that it actually is necessarily harder. Yes, there might be more work involved. There might be more things we have to do. There might be more things we have to run, systems that we need to have in place in order to run a $500,000 business compared to attracting $5 or $5K into our business. However, the energetics of it in terms of attracting is the same thing. Fundamentally, it is the same thing, right? You are still aligning yourself to the person you need to become in order to make that amount of money. You are still aligning yourself to that frequency. So whatever that money frequency is that you are attracting in, how are you aligning yourself? How are you becoming a match for that? How are you releasing anything that's standing in your way of becoming someone that can hold and manage and navigate that much money? Those are the questions to be asking yourself. Those are the questions to be really diving deep into as you are navigating money manifestation. Okay. One of the biggest things is not adding more and doing more and adding a bunch of things to your to-do list. It is releasing, right? Like we talked about in the last episode when we talked about money energetics and the shift that would create overflow in your bank account, in your business, in your revenue. If you haven't checked out that episode, it's a very, very good one. Got so many downloads within the first couple of days. Had some of you tell me how big of a shift it made for you in your money story right now or in this season of your business. So go and check out that most recent episode on money overflow. This one's going to be a little bit more specific on pricing, offers, business owner, talking about revenue, things like that. Okay. So that's the first thing that I am channeling, that I'm sensing, is that it's not actually harder. Like 6 figures is not harder than 10K. It is the same fundamentally. It is just the thoughts we have about hitting 6 figures, the thoughts we have about making $1 million in our business that create certain types of behavior or create certain types of emotions and actions and thoughts and beliefs, right? If you are someone who has never made 6 figures in your life in a year, and you start a business and you're like, okay, how do I even start, right? Of course, you're going to have more thoughts than someone who maybe already has six figures in their like trust fund account from their parents. Again, neither scenario is right or wrong, right? It's just talking about, um, let's just call it privilege, right? Like some of the things we have certain thoughts and beliefs. That's why I always like to relate this back to being a woman of color and communities that are historically more undervalued and underrepresented and oppressed, because when you are handed money from a very financially stable place, say that you grew up in a very wealthy family, your family was very well to do, you were always comfortable, you always had money, you always had, all of your needs, financial, physical, monetary, everything you needed taken care of, you see the world in a different way. It's easier for you to see the universe as your sugar daddy. It's easier for you to receive money, being on the receiving end, being open, being receptive, right? Because you're used to it. That's what you know. That's what you know from your parents, from your family, from your lineage. But if you grew up in scarcity and you have a lineage, not just with your existing grandparents and parents, but if you have a lineage of ancestors that experienced trauma or war, or were denied rent, or were denied jobs, or even denied the ability to have a thriving existence because the color of their skin, or because of their gender, or because of some reason that marginalized them in society, then yeah, you're going to have a bit of you're going to have more beliefs to break through. It's not necessarily going to be harder, or that it even has to take longer. It's just recognizing that some of these things, they're out of your control, right? Like the family you were born into is out of your control. Like the economic status of your family and society and the way we've created stigma around money is also out of your control to a certain degree, right? We do collectively manifest certain things, and there is karma, and our soul signs up for certain lessons. But I think it helps to realize, like, okay, there is stuff that I've already come into this world thinking and believing. And there are already things that we have identified, and that we've already created or perpetuated. And especially like if you can't choose your environment as a child. So if you grew up and your dad and your parents were always saying things like, oh yeah, well, we can't afford that, or that's only for people who are rich, and these are only for people who are greedy and make certain types of money. And if you make a lot of money, but yet you don't work really hard, then you're just cheating the system. And all of these narratives that we have around making money come from our parents, and the way that our parents view money, and the way that our parents view making money. So there are just so many things that we have to take into consideration when it comes to money energetics. And one of those things is like, how are my beliefs and my thoughts different, and how does that impact me right now in the way that I'm running my business, right? So let's talk a little bit about pricing. So when we talk about pricing, what I like to approach this as is, instead of looking at market rate prices or seeing what other people are doing in their businesses, I always like to start off with what feels energetically right, what feels energetically sound, right? Like what is the price that actually feels good in your body, and your body reacts to it, and your body essentially is saying, yes, this feels good. This is something that feels aligned, right? Because it can be really easy for us to look around and see, okay, well, someone else has $1,000 offer, and I'm offering a program around that same price rate or around that same duration. Maybe you're even offering something very similar, right? Maybe it's like weekly coaching sessions for 3 months, and you have support in between, whether it's like Voxer, text message, email, whatever. And you you feel like, okay, I should be on the same page with this person who's also offering this program for $1,000, right? But what you also need to take into account and into consideration is that you two are building completely different businesses. Even if you're offering some very similar services, you came to earth to build this business for a very specific reason that only is going to make sense to you, right? And you are going to have different experience levels and skill sets that are going to look different from this other person, right? And so it's really difficult to base your pricing off of somebody else's pricing because you don't know how many years of experience they have had, right? What have they done before they started their business that really helped them get to this place where they can charge this amount and feel very good about it? Right. And the only time I ever tell my students to actually lower their prices rather than raising their prices is when raising their prices or the price that they're currently at is causing them so much mind drama, so much pricing drama that they're going to have to self-coach themselves over and over and over about it. They're constantly on the fence about their pricing, about should it be this amount, but maybe it should be this amount. Maybe it should be 1,000. No, maybe it should be 2,000. But oh, am I lowballing myself? Or oh, am I actually going to be able to sell people at this price point though? Right? It's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I recommend my students to just lower it a little bit. This is the thing about pricing is that it's always going to shift. You're never going to have the same price forever. Your pricing's always going to go up. So if it helps you to sell, to gain confidence, to gain experience, to put yourself out there and to be so sure of your pricing that it's an absolute no-brainer, you can give yourself permission to lower a little bit if you are constantly having to self-coach yourself to a point where you don't even talk about your offer because you're having to self-coach yourself on the offer's pricing so much. Like you're losing your mind because you're like, wait, but should it be this? But should it be that? But oh my God. Like I would just choose something, maybe lower it a little bit, stick to it. And you can sell it to a couple of clients. And then, after a certain time period, check in with yourself, see how it still feels. And then maybe it's time for you to raise it to that higher price point. And it feels really good for you to do so because you've given yourself some time to really build into the experience and the confidence, right? When I first started coaching, and I don't necessarily recommend this, I was extremely lowballing myself. I had an extremely low offer. Extremely low offer for 3 months. Okay. And even one of my students was like, I feel like she's kind of like undervaluing herself. Again, I didn't know anything about the coaching industry. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know what to charge. Didn't know what was happening, right? Like truly was just, I truly just didn't know what I was doing. Okay. So, but what really helped me was like knowing that at the end of the day, even though I wasn't sure about the pricing, I knew that it was way more than what I was charging at that time. Right. Like at some point I got to a point where I was like, okay, this is really, really, really low. Right. But what it helped me do was be able to learn how to sell really powerfully. So I knew that it was low. Like I knew this price was low for what I was offering and what I could do for my students. But at the same time, like there was a part of me that was okay with it because I was willing to gain that experience, to gain that expertise, to really feel comfortable selling and becoming a really good salesperson, or at least like starting to sell, because that was something I'd never done before. So I was okay lowballing myself because I knew that it wasn't going to be that way forever. Of course, I actually raised it pretty quickly. And I continued to raise it all the way to the price that it is now. I'm talking about my one-on-one program. But in the beginning, I was okay not being like, quote unquote, charging what you're worth, which by the way, doesn't even exist because you're worth more than all the money in the world. I was okay with doing that because I was like, okay, I'm gaining this confidence. I'm gaining this experience. Right. And I always like to say to new coaches, you should be charging at least $100 an hour. That should be minimum. Coaching is transformative, right? Coaching is beautiful. Coaching is something that can take someone's life and completely change it within a matter of even one session. But imagine multiple sessions together with the right client, right? I just believe in coaching so deeply, and it's something that really has shifted my life in so many ways. I don't think that it should ever be under $100. Now, this is a completely different story if you're looking to just gain experience and you just want to take on a couple of beta clients for free, or even at a discounted rate as maybe like a bundle. So say that you're charging $100 normally per hour and you're doing a 6-week program. So you're meeting 6 times on a weekly basis. So it would typically be 600, but you're slashing it in half and you're doing it for 300 or 400 because this is like you're brand new and you want to gain the experience and you really want to put yourself out there, and see, okay, what is available? What is something that I can, what can I learn, right, about myself and about my clients and about who I'm serving and all these things, right? I believe that beta coaching is really powerful. It's what I've done in my business, and I teach my students how to do that inside Business Activation Academy. So if you're a brand new coach, join us inside Business Activation Academy. I highlight exactly how to connect with, attract, and work with beta clients, not just for them so that they get results. That's just a part of it, but for you to identify if you enjoy coaching on what you're coaching on and if who you enjoy coaching, right? These are really important things to understand at the basic level of starting your coaching business, is having these concepts figured out and having clarity on them. Okay. So that's really important. And another thing I want you to know about pricing your offers is there isn't really a rhyme or reason or a specific duration in order to raise your prices, right? So say you've gotten over the hump of like, feeling into your pricing and feeling confident with your pricing, and you feel good about it and you want to continue raising your prices because you believe in your work, you believe in your offer, which is the most important thing, right? Like you don't want to go and raise your prices if you're not feeling aligned to your offer, aligned to your coaching, aligned to yourself as the coach. You want to make sure that those aspects are clear and feel good to you first and foremost. Should always be the most important thing in your business. So once that's down and you do want to raise your prices, it doesn't need to be like every 3 months or every year or every 6 months or every 3 clients, right? There might be a good rule of thumb out there. I'm not sure. I've always raised my prices very energetically. So if I'm signing a couple of clients at $1,000, which I remember when I first raised my prices from, I think it was like 8 something or 9 something to 1,000. I was like, wow, I'm like really doing it now. Oh my gosh, is someone actually going to pay this price? Like I remember freaking out. But I remember when I signed my first $1,000 client and I was so excited and I was so happy. I was so like proud. I was so proud of myself and proud of what I had created. And yeah, it was so good. And I remember feeling like, okay, this is so crazy that I'm like someone's hiring me at this price point. And I remember after signing a couple clients at $1,000 and working with them, I realized that the energetic investment and the energetic exchange was no longer there, right? So you can start to tell when you need to raise your prices, when you start feeling kind of drained showing up to the calls, or if you feel like there's just a lot of work that you're putting into working with your clients and it's starting to exhaust you, or maybe you're not looking forward to the calls. I mean, it could be for different reasons. So that's why you really want to check in, evaluate, create that intimacy with your clients. Like, intimacy is something we talk about a lot in my Magic Mind Mastermind, which, by the way, is my advanced room for my business owners who already have a signature offer. They've already made 5K in their business. And by the way, we are enrolling for the next round at the end of August, on August 28th to September 1st. So if you want to be a part of that advanced room, join the waitlist in the show notes. So yeah, you really want to make sure you're creating intimacy with your business. My mastermind students tell me that they know what's happening in their business now. Like, they know what's going on. They're not just clueless, hoping something's going to happen or hoping something's going to shift. Like, they're so aware of what they're creating and they're taking full responsibility for it every single step of the way, which I think is CEO fucking energy. Right? Like, it's one thing to be a really great coach, but you also have to be a really smart CEO so that you're not running a really messy back end, so that you're not like, things are not falling apart internally, right? Or that you're not feeling aligned to what you're doing. Like, there needs to be congruency on all levels. So you want to check in and really make sure, like, okay, is this offer still something that feels aligned to me? Just because it's something you've been offering for, say, a year or 6 months doesn't mean it's something you have to offer forever. I started off as a social media coach, and I got to a point where if someone asked me about hashtags one more time, I swear I was going to pull my hair out, right? So I got to a point where I outgrew that. Social media was the way that I started my business, but it wasn't the way I was meant to finish it, right? It wasn't the way that I was meant to continue it. I was meant to transition into business coaching. So I gave myself permission to do that, especially when not only my clients were I was feeling drained, meeting up with my clients, and I raised my prices. I realized that wasn't it. I just realized that I wasn't connected to the work I was doing in social media coaching. And I even offered social media engagement services and a couple of other things. And so when I transitioned into business coaching, it really helped because I was doing what I loved. It was my absolute passion that I didn't even think. Well, when I started my social media coaching business, I had no idea that business coaching was even a thing. I didn't even know social media coaching was a thing. I jumped into it thinking I was like the first social media coach ever. I always tell the story. It's really funny because I was a content creator and I had grown organically from zero to, I think at that point when I started my business was like 50K, 50 or 60K. Might have been a little lower. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I get to talk about this. I get to teach about this. And everyone else I followed were content creators. So I didn't even know there was an entire coaching community. So I was like, I'm going to be the first social media coach. Like, this is so cool, right? Like, I'm offering social media coaching services. Like, who does that? Apparently a lot of people do that. So anyway, that was just how I started my business. I didn't know what business coaching was, right? I wouldn't have known how to business coach. But after coaching tons and lots of business owners and content creators and influencers and starting to help people build their businesses and realizing, wait, this is what I love instead, I could no longer be in integrity and sell social media coaching services. I was now a business coach, right? So I played with a couple of different offers. I played with some programs. I even launched a program that I didn't even sell to one person. And I just did so many different things. I experimented with so many different things. I shifted so many different things. I lost a lot of clients. I even let go of clients and letting them know, like, hey, I can't serve you in this way anymore. It's not in integrity for me. Like, maybe you can work with so-and-so, right? I would refer them out to different people. When I started to offer business coaching, people would ask me if I still did social media coaching. And even before then, I had to turn down money because, like, leave money on the table in the hopes and with the belief that I was going to serve more people as a business coach, knowing that I just had to pull back a little bit in order to shoot forward like a slingshot. I had to say no to the money for a little bit, My revenue and my profit, of course, dipped because of it, but I knew I was making important, significant changes in my business. And for a while, I even took on some beta coaching clients and served people in a different way. And that's really hard to do when you're on this momentum of like, yeah, I'm raising my prices. Like I have a wait list for one-on-one. My sales calls would get booked out 2 months in advance. Like that's unheard of. That was crazy. And I literally shut all that down. I even shut down sales calls. And I just opened up applications. And yeah, there were crickets for a while, right? People were like, wait, what are you doing? What is she doing? Is she's not offering this anymore? What do you mean? I lost a lot of followers, right? I wasn't working with the same clients I was working with. And so there was a big shift. But the reason I bring this all up is because I didn't just follow what was logical. I heard back then in my business that if you stick to something and you coach it and you get really good at it and you become an expert in it for like 2-3 years, then you will be the go-to and you will be good. Like you'll be golden. People will want to go to you for that for years and years to come. And I did have a lot of internal drama about it, but ultimately I realized that I needed to serve my new people, not my social media clients anymore, but the people that I was meant to serve as my business evolves and as my dharma evolves. I think sometimes we don't talk about this enough, is that our sole purpose isn't just one thing. My sole purpose wasn't just helping people grow on Instagram, right? My sole purpose is helping people come home to themselves. So I did that through social media coaching, but eventually I grew out of it. Now I do it through business coaching. And maybe one day I'll do it just through writing books. Maybe I'll do it just through speaking. Maybe I'll do it just through hosting retreats. Who knows, right? Right now, I love coaching and I love my business mastermind and I love hosting my academy. So I'm going to do it for as long as it feels aligned to me. But I want to give you permission, anyone who's listening to this, who's like, I kind of want to pivot. I don't really know what I'm doing. I kind of want to raise my prices, but I've done that and maybe I don't feel aligned anymore. Like I want you to check in with your business and create a level of intimacy with your business so that you know what's happening. One of the ways I do this is through connecting with the spirit of my business. I believe that my business is a spiritual entity. I believe that my business is it's like a little spirit, right? It's one of the spirits that I communicate with. And because I communicate with it and because I am so connected to my business and to my business's spirit, my business's soul, I feel like I know most of the time what's going on, what my business needs, what it doesn't need, where I'm overdoing it, where I might be underdoing it, or where I just need to rest or take a sabbatical or, put things on pause. Like being in communication with the spirit of my business has allowed me to create such a level of co-creation, like co-partnership and magic that I'm bringing to my clients, to my community in a way I would not be able to do alone. And especially not if I was just listening to logic or what is practical or what is expected or any of that, right? Because that's not how I want to spend my time. And that's not how I want to run my business. I want to do so in a way that is connected to my soul's purpose, that's rooted in my vision for why I even started this in the first place, or else why else would I be doing this? Why would I want to do this, right? It's because there's something deeper that I am connected to, right? So if you're feeling out of touch with your business, I highly recommend checking in. I highly recommend just dropping in and connecting with the spirit of your business. Even if you've been running your business for a while and you haven't not done this, it's never too late to connect to the spirit of your business and acknowledge that co-partnership, right? That co-creation where you're not in it on your own. That's why I never fear losing momentum, or if I take a break on social media, like, oh my God, are people going to forget about me? Are people going to lose? Like, am I going to lose followers? I never worry about that because when I'm resting and taking care of myself, it's so much more beneficial for my business energetically. But also when I'm resting and I'm chilling, the spirit of my business takes over. The spirit of my business reaches out to people and pulls people towards me and towards my page who would have never found me otherwise, right? And I believe in it so deeply. All that to say, I want to give you the permission to move and pivot and shift and transition in your business as you feel called, because that's what your soul wants you to do. And that's what you're here to do on earth. We're not meant to be known for just one thing. We're meant to be known, especially as women, as so many different things because we can handle that. We're meant to wear many different hats, many different identities, many different roles. And that gets to be a really beautiful thing depending on the season of your life, the vision you have for that season, what you feel called to. And part of this is giving yourself permission to quit and to say no and to say, I don't want to do this anymore, and say, this is no longer in alignment with me, right? We were taught our whole lives to never give up, never quit, don't be a quitter. But honestly, I think the most peace and joy comes from people who are quitting things that are no longer aligned to them and going to find things that feel genuinely congruent to who they're becoming, because we are becoming new people all the time. Especially me and my 5 times Scorpio. I'm always transforming and evolving into a new person every single week. And I know that's not everybody's story, but we can all see that in some way. We can understand what that looks like and what that feels like. So yeah, I the purpose of this episode was, I had this question on Instagram and I shared it in my stories and I got so many responses, and I ended up coaching, or not really coaching, but more so kind of like sharing thoughts, perspectives, and identifying how I would do things on my stories and my Q&A. And I wanted to expand this into a deeper episode. And I really want you all to walk away with, okay, I get to choose my prices and I get to choose how that feels to me, versus giving that power to someone else, whether that is a mentor or another peer in the industry or a market rate standard that I feel like I need to abide by for whatever reason, right? I decide my price and say it out loud and see how it feels in my body. And if not, go up. And if not, go down, right, a little bit, and find that price that feels aligned. And it doesn't need to be based on anyone else's standards other than your own. And I think that's such a powerful way of running your business. When you launch your offers, it's because you desire to. When you raise your prices, it's because you desire to. When you take something off of your current offers, it's because you desire to, right? You are building a business that's led by your desire and your pleasure and the lack thereof. And that gets to be such a great teacher for you. And I want everyone to be able to build their businesses in that way, rather than this is logical, this is profitable, this is predictable, this is what I should do, this is what people are telling me to do. What is your body saying? And how can you build such sweet intimacy with the spirit of your business and yourself in order to be so deeply connected and really listen and honor when those nudges come up for you? All right. I really hope this episode inspires you to raise your prices, or it inspires you to choose a price that feels super, super, super in congruence, in alignment with you and who you are, and allows you to sell confidently and gain experience and really show up as the CEO you're meant to be. Like, we're in Leo season now. We're meant to shine brightly and show up as our highest selves and really make big shifts and big changes energetically. Like, this is the time to do it with the energetic astrological forecast. Like, this is our time to show up big and make big moves and really go in on ourselves, like really, really bet on ourselves and our businesses and be like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm showing up. I'm doing the thing. This is my price. This is my offer. This is who I am. Come and join me. If you like my vibe, come and join me. Let's go. All right. And honoring all of that, I would love for you to join me inside the Magic Mind Mastermind. If this feels aligned to you, if you feel called to joining us in this next round, this is my business mastermind for 5 months from October to February. We are enrolling August 28th to September 1st. So that's Monday to Friday, only 1 week, where I'm accepting applications for the people, the coaches, the healers, the magicians, the mentors who really feel like they are meant to be a part of this container. You're meant to be a part of this portal, I've been calling it, because it is such a deep and beautiful initiation into coming home to yourself and understanding who you are and your soul purpose, building a beautifully deep and intimate relationship with the spirit of your business and your intuition. So you never listen to logic or what is profitable or what society is telling you, or follow and run your business based on systems of supremacy like the patriarchy and capitalism. You are building a business that is fully 100% you. And I think that is the most powerful way to do it. I am looking for an intimate group of women who feel very aligned to being together with us in this group together. I am capping it at a certain amount of spots. So it is first come, first serve. If you feel drawn to being in this container and really working on sharpening your marketing, creating those fuck yes clients who are like, yes, take my money, and really sharpening your sales strategies, personalizing all of this to you while doing some beautiful inner soul work, I invite you to join us. If you want to do this work and you want to do it deeper with me, I would love to be your business coach. So we have a wait list in the show notes below. You can check that out. Gives you all the details so you can read through it. If you want to chat with me, if you want to talk and just have a deeper conversation to see if this is the next aligned step for your business, please DM me at tiffanychong.co on Instagram. Would love to send you some voice notes, see where you're at and see how this feels to you. And I would love to see you in this next round. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this amazing episode. If you have any questions, if you enjoyed this, please share this to your stories. If you have thoughts, please share this with me in the messages on Instagram. I always love hearing from you all, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychong.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.